Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, and I am with my good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. And despite the barriers of social media giants, we shall return. Okay. So while we could talk about many things, Jason, we're going to keep our nose clean here because it's live streaming to Facebook. But, I mean, you and I could sit down probably for a week for 8 hours a day and discuss all manners of dynamics and levels of life from the hereafter to the right now. But today, what I want to talk to you about is specifically as a doctor, as a chiropractor, as a very successful one with a boatload of followers on Twitter, on YouTube, and now you're going to Parlor, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you've been very vocal, very active, and it obviously has grown your practice.
I will tell you the practice growth in the last 9-10 months, and I'll be honest with you, very transparent up front. When everything viral hit, literally in March, April, whatever it was, we were like any other practice. There was a fear trigger that happened, and we don't see a lot of elderly population. We have a percentage.
Yeah.
And the fear hit. Yes, we dropped down quite a bit when that occurred, and we did have to take some people like, okay, you're headed home for it. But it was mostly like students and things like that, people who weren't quote unquote depending on a paycheck. We kept the core, and then myself, my wife, our practitioners, social media, we have since, and it's called survival, man. We went in, we like, there's this little trigger in your brain, in your mind that kicks on and says, oh crap, something's happening. We have to do something. And most people go home and they go, well, we're going to have to sit down for a week and we're going to have to work through this. No, this was like about a 15-20 minute decision. Survival doesn't take long to do. And that turned into tripling, quadrupling our practice over the last 9 months, triple to quadruple both statistics and revenue statistics as well. And we've never been bigger than we are right now.
That's awesome. And I know that I know for myself, I've attracted a lot of business and opportunity from being extremely active on social media. You've been extremely active on social media. Where for you, in your growing your practice, you obviously gravitated as a content creator towards multiple platforms. What was the thing? What was kind of the aha moment that just made you double down on social media as a way to grow your brand?
I mean, it comes down to truth, man. I actually did something that most people are afraid to do, which was just start preaching what is true for you. And I'll tell you, my personal brand also did help the whole thing. And my personal brand was always health. Like the last 3 years, I talked about health. I mean, my brand, Revolution Network, on top of the practice brand, has always been there. We've always talked about those things. And so doubling down on what was real for us, what was real for me, actually helped. And so I've been bold from a natural health standpoint from the very beginning. And when everything hit, I had a different reality on the viral aspect than most everyone else out there did. And quite honestly, myself, my wife, and our practitioners took the opposite message that was being preached to the rest of the people out there. And we would double and triple down on that. And we would tell what was real. Like, we told people about remedies. We told people about things that would actually help them boost their immune system. And that truth resonated and actually built the practice even bigger. So when people are like, well, I really do, I constantly say, like, it comes down to preaching your truth. And some people are honestly afraid to do that. And I know that's Dude, we are in a truth movement, but people are literally afraid to say what is truthful for them. But you will have people come out of the woodwork when you preach what is truth for you. And it doesn't matter if you're a dentist, if you're a chiropractor, a naturopath. I don't care if you're in computers and software. Like, it doesn't matter. And you don't have to take on necessarily controversial subjects like I do a lot of the times. You can just whatever is real for you. And if it really resonates with you, no matter what you're in, what industry you're in, it is going to go out to the public that you actually want. I mean, people ask me all the time, don't you get people who disagree with you? No, because I'm not looking for those people. Like, what? I'm not asking for the person that believes in the whole the mainstream narrative of healthcare right now. I'm not looking for the person who's preaching about medicine. That's not my clientele. I'm looking for the person who actually is against that, or not against it, but looks at it and views it differently. And dude, just doubling down constantly on what we believe to be true really, really did help blow the thing up.
Yeah, great points. I think that a lot of brands are kind of afraid to stand for their truth, even though they believe them. They, privately, you take them out to dinner, they'll tell you this with a great amount of passion, and you're like, why don't you put that on a video? And they're like, well, and they're afraid of having their message suppressed or invalidated.
No, 100%. Actually, what happened was probably about a month ago, we had one of our coaching world we work in with chiropractors. We went to for the weekend away down in Tampa area. And I went in there, and it was a smaller crowd than normal, but there were still people there. And there was probably another 20 doctors there who were talking about ways to grow their practice. And they asked me to go up and speak for a little bit up front. And so I went up and just told them what I was doing. And I will tell you, man, people still had, even though I went up and told them this is what I was doing, people still had fear. I could see it in their eyes. People are afraid to communicate what is truthful for them, even in their own industry. And it really, it paralyzes them from pushing the record button on their phone. And I tell everybody that paralysis, or that thinking twice about it, or that hesitation. First of all, once you get over it, it's free. It's easy sailing after that. Like, it gets addicting. So honestly, like my first time, if you go back to my first ever video years ago, oh yeah, it was a freaking train wreck, man. Like, I go back and I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. Everything about it was wrong. It wasn't good. It didn't work, etc. But that getting past that is the freedom. It really is.
I totally agree. It's a common thing. I've done a lot of live workshops before COVID hit here in Las Vegas. I did a monthly workshop, and I would have anywhere from 10 to 30 people show up once a month here in Vegas. And I was teaching them all about content creation. And the number one thing is, I don't want to look stupid. So this is what I told them. I said, so the first 20 to 25 videos, you're going to look absolutely stupid. You are going to look stupid. You're going to sound stupid. You're going to be stiff, boring, babbling all over the place. But you have to go through that pain. And what, it's the great thing I learned is, if you watch your own videos, you'll sit there and go, oh my, and I would force myself early on when I was doing caffeinated content many years ago. I would watch my own videos, and I would just spiritually and mentally beat myself up. But then I went, wait, this is an opportunity to kind of refine it. And then I would watch it and go, oh, wow, here's what I did right. Here's what I did wrong. And I think if you're passionate about something, you're just going to have to work through that curve.
Oh, let me give you a perfect freaking example. I'll look at some of my stuff. I don't watch every one of them back through all the way, because I generally know what I was saying. But what actually occurred was the next generation. So I do my videos. It's kind of like production at night. Like, my wife knows it. Like, our whole family, by the way, is on board this branding shit. Like, we all know how it works. We're all business oriented. My wife does hers like one night a week. She's starting to expand hers a little bit more. But get this, out of nowhere, my daughter, who is 7 years old. So I told her, I go, you should do some videos sometime, like a year ago. She's like, no, I'm not doing those, etc. But keep in mind, she also will watch some YouTube videos of like crafts and like babies alive, like the toy thing, creative stuff for 7-year-olds, right? And she'll watch stuff, and I always have my ear out listening. Okay, is there anything she's watching that's not appropriate? Like, we keep a good filter on that. But she'll watch it, right? And so out of nowhere, she decided like a month or so ago that she wants to start doing videos. Now, keep in mind, she watches Dad. She knows when I'm on. She knows when Mom's on. She's watching. Like, we're not forcing it on her. She's watching, right? And so she decides that she tells Mom, I want to do my own videos. And she goes, I want to have it so companies send me products. She literally said this, right? And so, great. So she didn't want me doing it. Mom took her with her phone, and they made some videos on a Saturday afternoon. So she goes, I want you to watch it, Dad. She brings in the video, and I'm watching it. And she made a 12-minute video and a 7-minute video. And I'm watching it through. And literally in the video, she says, hey, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the red button below, subscribe, and then the little bell, hit the little bell to all. And she goes, oh, and by the way, if you send this out to 10 of your friends and have them subscribe, you might be able to win something. And I went, I don't even do that. Like I learned from her, 7 years old, because she is already branding, because she's learning it from others. And I'm like, I literally told my wife, I'm going, okay, we have to put that to the practice. We have to put it out in our own videos. Like, that's genius. And we learned it from our 7-year-old.
Yeah. Well, I think, you grow up on it, and they start to look at, and their ability to emulate what they watch is a lot quicker than us, because they don't have all the mental machinery in place to stop it.
Exactly.
They're just this giant sponge of like, oh, I'll just do what they're doing.
That's just what we do. There's no reservations.
Yeah, none. Yeah. Okay, so now, can you tell me about some of the future brands you're building or will build, and what your game plan is with those future brands?
Yeah, so from a practice standpoint, our future brands are, we used to joke about this kind of at staff meetings. We were going to help our local community, but we also wanted to help, we used to literally joke, we wanted to help the universe. And from a nutritional standpoint, our future brand is, we're going to be doing group coaching, group telehealth, nutritional coaching, all over we're already helping people all over the world. But we're going to be doing that. So that's actually going to go everywhere. On top of that, I actually urge other doctors out there, and it doesn't matter if you're in chiropractic, nutrition, dental, because I know a lot of people start putting barriers up in their own way of like, well, I'm in this industry, I'm a dentist, I'm this. There's really nothing I can do because I need a physical person in front of me. That's not true. There's products you use. There's dental things, and trust me, I am no dentist. I know almost nothing about it other than the basics of it. However, I mean, if there was a dentist out there who put out, a $59 course or some videos here and there of products that they use at home, I would buy into that. Like, I would buy into that to make my dental world better, or whatever it may be. So globally, we're working on that, where people can literally come right to us, pick up what Dr. Dean might, put in a shake in the morning, or what my wife does for dinner and recipes, etc. It's a global brand. So that's what we're doing for the practice long term. And I think if you're not on that path in your practice, or some version of that for yourself, you can really fall behind quite quickly, because I don't know what, post-viral world we're going into. They're going to put a lot of fear into your local communities. You need to work through and educate through that. And then for my own personal brand, we're going into in about a month, there's going to be something called Brave TV, where I bring in, I know that my show can be a little controversial. And so I've decided to put that show into a membership type situation, because not everyone can handle it. But we need to grow from a business standpoint in America. I mean, the only people who are going to actually save America are, one, the people, but two, the entrepreneurs, the capitalists, the business people, the ones who are building these brands, are building the economy, building the revenue. And so going forward, it's to build that up, to have a lot of content brought in from all different backgrounds so that we can teach people, hey, go out and be prosperous.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that. America was built through armed entrepreneurs
That's right.
and farmers and just the common folk that had the mental grit to fight oppression. And, back then it was pamphlets. Now we have social media to kind of spread the word. Now, when you talk to other chiropractors and you're saying, hey, because I know telehealth is huge. I'm a board member of a telehealth company, and I follow telehealth almost every day. So it's an explosion of opportunity. Where do you find that the average chiropractor or doctor where are they struggling to adapt to this new technology? What do they have to overcome, and how are you helping them?
I think the biggest thing is to get out of their way from a barrier standpoint and to look at all areas of where they can help. So, for example, I think obviously the toughest ones would be strictly chiropractors who strictly adjust. So clearly, you're needing a person in front of you. You need a person that you can actually adjust like right there. However, you can also go on YouTube right now and you can Google chiropractors, and there's chiros out there who are getting millions and millions of views showing people how they adjust on camera. Now, do they have telehealth in their office? I don't know that, but why can't we do these exercises to prevent against a problem in the spine? Have these courses on how you can best take care of your body biomechanically. And everyone's different. That's the one thing with chiropractic. There's about 7 million, and I joke about that, but there is about 7 million different ways of doing something. Right. And it's fine. And trust me, I'm in that world, so I get it. And it's our own joke against ourselves. But think outside the box. I mean, we are in the education world from a standpoint of economy. You have to give away just about everything for free from an education standpoint. Now, people immediately panic and they go, well, if I give it away for free, then nobody will pay for anything. No, that's not true. Trust me. I can give away everything nutritionally for free over the next 2 months. And guess what? I'm still going to have people that come to me, even after they've been educated, that want to pay to have something help for them, because it's called coaching. Now, that word, I don't know if I love coaching necessarily, because I don't necessarily want to be a coach to every single person, but it's one thing to give them information. We have a lot of people out there, and I love the people, but even if you give the information to them, even though they have the data in their hands, they need someone guiding them straight through. It's no different than business coaching. I have coaching for the last 15 years in business. They handed me all the material. I still needed them in my ear, guiding me through that material, what to implement. Let's make a decision here. Let's make a decision there. I think the education and that space is massive. So even for chiros, who might be the toughest ones because they need somebody in person, I dare you to give away all of your stuff for free on YouTube and social media. Show how you adjust people, and then the local community is going to find that, and they're going to show up.
Absolutely. I tell people, hide in plain sight. It's funny. I'll tell you the two things that a coach brings if they're good, and why giving that information is so incredible. Number one, what they're delivering is expertise. That's you're seeking a coach because of expertise. But here's the other thing that I found when I started coaching. They want accountability.
That's right.
I mean, I would literally have people time and time again tell me, I go, so what do you want from me as a coach? Kind of establish the need and wants. I want your expertise, and then I want you to kick my ass.
That's right.
So what I think a lot of people out there that want to coach or doctor or telehealth or whatever you want to label it as, what people really want, they not only want your expertise, they want to be pushed to do what you tell them. And if you just hand them the cookbook, they're not going to go cook.
I just said that the other day to a new branding coach that I have for my online brand. I called him and I said, and we talked off and on, but we haven't worked together in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I said, I need your services. And he goes, what do you need? I go, I don't need the education. I don't need the content. You know, I got that. I need one thing for you. And he goes, what's that? I go, every once in a while, I can get a little bit lazy, or I might get a barrier in my way that I can't get around or mentally get around. I go, I literally just need, and these were my words to him. I need you to kick me in the ass. That's all I need. I need the coach. I am a Vince Lombardi mindset. I need the person on the sideline who throws me out in the field. I will carry out what you want. I will produce content all day long. When I come back off the field, I need Vince Lombardi in my face saying, you messed this up. Good job over here. Let's go back out there. And that's what I'm paying for.
Yeah. And that is what I think chiropractors, you could teach them is like, look, you could give away all the knowledge. I literally can show somebody my battle plan, my strategy in detail, hand it to them. And I know that 99% of them will not execute.
So true.
I can say, here's the total truth. Here's the exact strategy that I'm going to deploy word for word. And it works every time, and hand it to them. Because I've done that many times thinking, oh, all they do is lack the knowledge. So here you go. Here's the program. And then, but we all know how many people join a health club and then never attend.
If I was going to start a new workout routine tomorrow, I could go on YouTube tonight, learn everything, and do it myself. And guess what I wouldn't do? Now, I would go watch some of the videos because I want to get a little taste. I would march my butt into the gym or into the personal trainer this week, and I would say, here's my money. I need you to kick my ass for the next couple weeks to a month so that I get it drilled into my head. At that point, I may go on my own, but I may not either. I like coaching. I would personally hire a coach all year long, and they would have to say to me every week, you know what you're doing. I know. Do it anyway. Let's keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I like the coaching mentality, but I grew up in sports too. So I'm the Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan mentality. Like I tell my wife, I'm like, Michael Jordan had 5 coaches. Tiger Woods had 5 coaches. They don't need coaches. Why do they still have 5 coaches? I like that mentality. I like people behind me pushing me harder than I can push myself.
Yeah. Hey, if you're a coach, a doctor, chiropractor, if anything that we're saying to you right now resonates, I want to share something that Dr. Jason Dean has brought up and I've spoken to a little bit about. If you bring your knowledge and a sense of accountability to your community, you will be valued. What I think really the leadership in this country is so nuts and crazy that if you can bring a little bit of a micro or macro leadership to some area of their life and bring order to their life, whether it's their health, their marketing, their branding, how to raise kids, how to run their finances, do their bookkeeping, it doesn't matter. If you could speak your truth, show what you do, how you do it, and then bring an amazing sense of care and accountability to your community, they're going to flock to you. And nothing can do that better than creating content and just sharing it endlessly.
Can I give somebody $1 million idea right now?
I want you to drop it. I hope everybody's listening right now because he's about to drop $1 million truth bomb.
Here's $1 million idea. I was at dinner last night with my in-laws. I married into an Italian family, so there is Sunday night dinner where there is no way out of it. There is no way out, and it's okay. It's good. That's what we need back in America. We need family. We need dinners back. But my wife went to a arts show yesterday in our area next to our office. They have it every year. And she spoke to some people who are artists there who had trouble this year because of all the garbage going on, right? And because business is slower. And the gentleman was actually tears in his eyes thanking her for buying some Christmas gifts so that his life was easier because revenue was down. If you are not waking up to the internet world at this point with your small business, I don't care if you're a chiropractor, I don't care if you do nutritional work. I don't care if you sell trinkets on the side. I don't have time to do this. But if you're out there and you know anything about social media, if you know anything about the internet, basic websites, go to your local farmers markets and craft fairs and all these different things and charge them nominal fees. These people, these folks do not know the first thing about setting up a Square account, taking a credit, some take credit card, but they have no internet presence. They have no social media presence. They're not educating anybody. They're hoping and wishing somebody shows up at an event like, and there's chiropractors out there too. I know, I've seen them at these fairs, right? So if you know how to operate social media in any way, shape, or form, or build even the simplest website and do SEO on that, go offer these folks services. You don't even have to do it expensively. Like do it, like start out of the gate small. That can turn into $1 million company just taking these people on as clients. I mean, I want them all to succeed, but I'm worried about them because they still, these are the same people that go, well, I've tried the Twitter and the Facebook thing, but I don't really understand it. That gives you no excuse. You will fail and you will get left behind in the new economy in 2021 if you're not focused on those avenues. So if you're out there and you know how to do that stuff, there's your business idea.
Yeah. Were you at the 10X conference in February here in Vegas?
I was not at that one. No, I was at the one before that.
You've been at some others. Okay. Yeah. So I want to speak to something about what you brought up, bring up social media. So on Saturday, I went to the one here in Vegas because this is where I live. So it was easy for me to attend. Went with my good friend, Christopher Music.
Yes, I know Christopher Music. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. So him and I hang out the whole 3 days there. And all day Saturday, all they did was talk about promo and marketing. I forget the gentleman's name that they brought up, but he said, okay, you ready for the biggest unlock? Now, this is February earlier. He said, here's the biggest unlock for 2020. Bigger than social media, bigger. It's email. And it was like, what?
It still works.
Right? He goes, it's been around for 35 years. Everybody has an email address. Do you know that the average business person spends 3 hours a day on email and only 1 minute on LinkedIn? So then he lays out, well, what you have to do is answer people's questions, give valuable information, and then be consistent. Do you know that you put me in a room with 100 chiropractors and ask them, this is technology around 35 years. How many of you have an email database and regularly send helpful content to your email, to your past and current clients? Almost nobody.
That's exactly true.
That's a business model. Go to chiropractors and go, I'll set up your email database and run it for you.
100. It is 2021 and beyond. And again, I don't want anyone, especially if you're doing something as service. I mean, we're talking to chiropractors out there. I see people over here putting great comments. We're talking to people who have their own businesses. All of these names, for the most part, are familiar. And I know many of them might have businesses. I don't want anyone to fail in business. But the universe is tough, man. And business is tough. And if you don't jump in, you're going to get thrown to the side by just natural laws. And trust me, we've all taken fails. We've all failed at certain things here and there. I've done the same thing, but you got to push forward. And I don't know how, you have to be on these platforms, at least for the time being. I mean, hey, I got booted off of the most successful, well-known social media platform in the world for my own brand. And guess what? Even though I'm not necessarily personally going back, you will see brands again there. Why? Yeah. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I am an entrepreneur, and guess what I do like making? I do like making money, and it is the biggest money-making platform in the world. So I will find a way to get back in.
As my father would say, fish where the fish are.
That's correct. Why would you go reinvent the wheel when it's already built for you there? And you can make, at the end of the day, we can sometimes produce upwards of $1,000 in revenue for less than a couple dollars a click.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, I want you to, if you can hook up with Dr. Jason here and go to the Revolution Network. I know many of you are already connected with them. I'm sure that they've got things that they can opt in.
Yep.
So they can give up their email so you can reach
Totally.
out to them. They can, I know that you're very active on Twitter. So I know not as many people are active on Twitter as they are on Facebook, but if you are, I suggest you follow Dr. Jason Dean there. So, hey, Jason, I have a proposal. I think that, every 4, 5, 6 weeks, we should maybe take a tip, some strategy you're doing in business. I mean, we've done broad strokes here today, which is fine because this is the first time I've had you on my show. I've been on your show a couple of times talking about much more intriguing topics. And I'll leave it at that for the moment. But I think maybe we could take maybe a deep dive on specific things that you're doing, like on video, or how you get such an active follower. You have a lot of engaged people on Twitter. I've noticed that. Or, maybe what you're doing with your email, or how you're building your brands, or, how you build product lines that fit those needs, how you're doing telehealth. I think down the road, we can explore very deeply specific strategies, and we can just focus on that for 30 minutes and then maybe have a series over the next year of what you're doing. Hopefully, people will listen to this and actually take action as a result of this. I'm going through a couple of coaching programs myself on the subject of video and YouTube. And it's so funny that one of the people was stressing, like, okay, I'm going to tell you all this, and that's 1% of it. The 99, the unlock is the doing.
Right. Totally. So let me bring up number one. And this actually I learned. I think I kind of knew it, but then it was really put on me years ago. So back to the 10x conferences, events.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at basically all of them except for the last one. And in Vegas years ago, there was this guy. Actually, in Miami, I first learned about him, Hank Norman, who has been on stage before, and he was one of the guys who actually put the show The View on the map. Now, I'm not talking about opinions here or ideology. I'm just talking about a show. That's all it is. Okay.
He did it
even said
successfully.
Yeah. So he put the show on, and I remember him saying on stage that the 5 or 6 ladies in the back room, the production meeting, he was basically giving them their viewpoints for the show, meaning they didn't even necessarily believe what they were saying on camera. They were given viewpoints. Now, I'm not saying lie about something. I'm just saying he's telling you exactly how TV works behind the scenes. So he actually started coaching people. And all I didn't even use his, I think I bought his $100 program at one point, but that's all. Between that and listening to him on stage is what I got from him. And he said something that's so important. And this is number one for me when it comes to healthcare and the practice, but also the brand online, is opinion. You have to have an opinion. And people are very afraid of having opinion because they don't want to be judged. Whether they think their opinion is good or their opinion is, I have opinions on certain healthcare things that I won't go into on this show because I don't want to open up a can of worms. But I have opinions on certain healthcare things that are very not mainstream. And people will say, how do you dare to even say something like that on camera? And I go, because that is my heartfelt, soul level opinion. When I talk about that particular subject or this particular subject, I am actually trying to save lives out there. This is my opinion based in science on what I believe is good or bad for an individual. So, and talking to a lot of doctors out there, they won't go on camera because they don't want to, I guess, shake the boat. Now, having an opinion doesn't necessarily mean you have to shake the boat, but they're afraid to have a viewpoint on something, because what if somebody sees them that maybe they already take care of, or a family member or a friend? What if somebody sees them and they have a deeply held belief that they're trying to hold on to because they don't want to lose friendship or family or somebody in practice?
Yep.
I tell you, when somebody hits back at me, I typically turn the volume up even higher on it. And there's times where I've gone on massive rants on my shows on things that are completely against mainstream. And every time I do it, I am solely speaking from the soul on my belief and backed by what, from a scientific standpoint in my world, what something is. And every time I do that, guess what? It builds stronger. The base builds stronger. The practice builds stronger. When you give your opinion or your belief, you want those people coming out of the woodwork. First of all, they look at you as a leader, right?
Yep.
Like people,
Yep.
they look at you as somebody willing to stand up for truths, whatever that, and that could be anywhere, for anything from vaccines to low back problems. I mean, I know it sounds, well, what do you mean opinion on low back? Have an opinion on something. Trust me, there's a surgeon down the road that has a different opinion of low back problems than you do. You're talking about alternative. They're talking about cutting you open and taking like part of your disc out. When you talk about natural remedies for low back or a certain dental procedure or a nutritional product, have a viewpoint on that, because your opinion is going to get out there and people resonate with opinions. They resonate with what your truth is. You're actually going to pull them out of the woodwork. They're going to come in. So I want people to literally, no matter how crazy your opinion or your viewpoint might be, preach it if that's what it is. And you don't have to agree with all of us, but preach it because you want your tribe.
Yeah. One of the things that's driven me in exactly what you say about speaking your truth, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. If you are not true to what is true in you, and you are not willing to speak for it, I guarantee you this: in your last dying days, you're going to have a ton of regret.
Oh.
A ton. All that unsaid communication is going to build up like plaque in your arteries, and it's going to give you a spiritual heart attack. So I always look at, I believe that there's two things that people are going to say at my funeral. He said what he meant, and he went out and tried to do what he intended to do. I may not have agreed with what he said, or I agree with the things that he did, but the dude had the balls to say what he wanted to say. Got to respect that.
100%.
And I really, to me, that's the legacy that everybody that's watching this right now and will watch it in the future or listen to it when we upload this as a podcast is, if you don't live your truth, my God, the karma that's coming your way at the end of your life, the amount of regret will be proportionate to the amount of truth that you did not speak.
Total. And some of the viewpoints that I have taken, some will say you shouldn't talk about. I've had people tell me I shouldn't talk about certain things. A particular very strong viewpoint that I have spoken about for years and years and years and have done rants on, etc. That viewpoint today got me access to personally message one of the state legislatures in my state, and his person, and no one else hooked it up. It was just me reaching out to that person and connecting. And now I am getting meetings with these people to help change things at a state and possible federal level for the good of humanity, because of me stating an opinion and viewpoint and not caring that other people thought it was crazy.
There you go. Well, you know what? If you think it's crazy, maybe it's not. And if it is, then you're crazy. And at least then everybody knows it.
Yes.
Jason, we could go on and on and on. and on and on and on. And maybe one day you and I will have a radio show together.
In the works. In the works.
I'm telling you, because I'm telling you, there's so much to talk about, and there's so many people out there. You know, when I started this show, I was like, who am I going to bring on my show? Obviously, you're at the top of the list. And I thought, I'm going to run out of people. I started bringing on great guests. Those great guests had a great experience. And then I've had people like Marine Corps generals and New York Times bestselling authors. And I mean, people that I'm like, you're going to bring that guy into my show? Yeah, love your style, love your truth. And it was just something that anybody that's watching this, you need to find a platform and you need to go for it and start talking and start creating the content. And even if you only look at the right-hand side and you only see one viewer, I'm telling you, that's where it begins. And I know it's demoralizing sometimes to do that for a couple times. But Jason, you probably got through that demoralization stage.
Right? I remember many days of like, no one's watching, no one's listening, there's nobody out there, I suck. Over and over. It's just like when everyone goes, oh my gosh, it happened overnight, you have thousands and thousands of live viewers. And I go, that didn't happen overnight, folks. That was 3 years of just putting out material. But that's what separates the influential from the ones who, I know people right now who I've been telling for 5+ years to do video, and they've done one video, 2 videos, they went for a week straight, and then they got busy or something, family came up, and I'm not, hey, we all have families, trust me, I have a family, and this is part of our family dynamic now. We know it is biblical written in this house that dad is on usually at 9:30, and then, you know, mom is on Tuesday nights at this time, and she's building up her schedule. Like, I know that sounds completely crazy to a lot of people, but like that's how we live our lives we live our lives to impact the world. I mean, yeah, money's great, everything, like we have a good life, houses are great, cars are great. They're fun. Obviously, I love toys, but this is to impact. This is to impact the world. As I say every night, we're trying to restore the republic. We're trying to this country is founded on business is founded on principles. You find me a business owner out there. I mean, I don't know the statistics. You know this better than I would. But what percentage of entrepreneurship in America is made up of small businesses? The people who are putting in 10 to 20 hours a day and then going home to feed their family. The majority of people are not sitting on board of directors and flying around private jets. That's the small minority. The majority is hustling, busting their ass, just running all out. And so that's kind of the take home, is you just got to make it happen. And let me give them one real quick tip from a mechanical standpoint, because behind the scenes, I have some friends that I call on and regarding how everything looks here and all this different stuff. And the one thing I was taught in the very beginning is we have live streaming now and all these cool things.
Yeah.
But you'll see sometimes the lighting isn't perfect. Sometimes I'll have a light behind me because I was working on something and forgot it was there, but it looks kind of cool anyway now. But I will tell you, I did spend a couple $100 on this microphone, because I didn't start off that way. I started off with a $20 microphone, but then as it got bigger and bigger, this stuff goes to podcasts where it's all audio. And my mentor, my coach in the tech space behind the scenes, who works for the Googles of the world, the big name companies as a freelancer, has always said, no matter what that camera looks like, you can get away with certain things with camera. Yep. You can't get away with audio being off. Audio has to be like 1,000%, because people will listen. That's fine. People will listen while they're watching a crappy video. And so you don't need a lot to start this stuff, whether you're in a brick and mortar practice or you're on just an online social brand or whatever it is, but they got to be able to hear you. I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff. I know you probably do this too, but I mean, if I'm driving, I have a podcast on. I don't listen to the radio. I'm listening, I'm pulling in information. So make sure you have the things like that. We'll do more tips as we go forward with your show and everything else, but I want to give them some of those little basics.
Yeah, I like that. I think what we'll do is we can get into the technical tips, what, like me, what microphone to buy, what lighting I use as a fill light. Yeah, those are all neat techniques. But it basically comes down to what we were talking about earlier. Speak your truth, be true to your truth, be consistent. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't know how many videos you've put out. I probably have about 400 videos on YouTube. And I'm still not world famous. I don't need to be world famous. I might have to put out another 600, but I'm not doing it to be famous. I'm doing it to serve, distribute that content. And if, 10, 20, 30 people can be impacted, then I made a difference.
Absolutely. And nothing beats having an American flag motorcycle helmet over your right shoulder. I love that. I love that picture.
Yeah. Hey, and you got to come out to Las Vegas. We got to do some freedom stuff.
I miss Las Vegas. I always tell people I am the non-smoker, other than an occasional cigar. I am the non-smoker, non-drinker, non-drug user who loves Las Vegas. Las Vegas to me is not about the shows. The shows are fun, but it's not about the energy. Like, I get energy from that place. So yeah, anytime I can get out there, and I'll be careful what I say. It's your show. There's no Karens running around. I'm excited to get back to Vegas.
Yeah. Well, you got a place to stay anytime. I got extra room. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do another show soon. Hey guys, if you've been watching, thank you so much for being here on Growth Driven. We're going to try to bring you amazing guests, which I'm working hard to do, bring you great content, actionable content, inspirational content, so that you build a better you, a better America, a better business, a better family, and a better universe. All right, Dr. Jason, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep.